Can the Dallas Stars slow down the big guns for the Minnesota Wild tonight in their home opener? We'll talk lineup changes. We'll talk players you should be concerned about on Minnesota and plenty more next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free, available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. It's finally here, the Dallas Stars home opener at the American Airlines Center against the Minnesota Wild. Welcome to a preview edition of Locked On Stars. It's a late puck drop, so enjoy this one up until 8:30 when the puck drops at the AAC. We're going to talk about some of the lineup changes, just one actually. Also, can the Stars slow down the big guns for Minnesota? Some of the players I am very cautious of and the Stars should be concerned about, and we'll do some predictions a bit later on as well. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Let me know your prediction of tonight's game in the comments below. It's a national televised game as well on ESPN. Should be a fun one. But let's jump in to the lineup changes. Alexander Petrovic will make his season debut. Ilya Lyubushkin comes out. Glenn Goaltending did say this is not because of anything negative with Lyubushkin. He would just like to get Petrovic in the lineup, which I am a huge fan of. He was excellent next to Leon Bichsel in the spring during the Stanley Cup playoffs. They seem to really feed off each other. I think they really complemented each other as well. And Lyubushkin at points can struggle, but we do know he's a good penalty killer, although he did take a 4-minute double minor the other night in Colorado. He will be back in shortly, but it's good to get Petrovic in, get his feet wet, and it gives Lyubushkin some rest. I mentioned coming into this year, the great thing about Petrovic is, you know, he's a solid defenseman, and he can come in the lineup for a week. He can be a healthy scratch a couple of nights and check back in, and you're really not going to miss a step from him. Bichsel, you can really just throw him with Lyubushkin or Petrovic. There's chemistry there. There is nothing to be worried about when Petrovic comes into the game, at least in my opinion. I really have nothing negative to say about Petrovic in his game. Moves pretty well for a bigger guy. He moves the puck really well. We've seen that over the last two postseasons. It's almost ironic that he, I wouldn't say he wasn't good enough to play in the regular season, but let's just say that the Stars had too many bodies in front of him on the depth chart to play him during the regular season. And then all of a sudden he is steady enough and more reliable than some of the guys you paid big money to fill in defensively for you when it came to the biggest parts of the season, which of course are the playoffs. Anyways, I digress. Petrovic is in the lineup tonight. Jake Oettinger starts in goal. That's a big one. He has always been great against the Minnesota Wild, against his hometown team, the Lakeville, Minnesota native. He has a 7-0-3 record against the Minnesota Wild in his career, a 2.21 goals against average and .922 save percentage. Yes, he's fantastic. It says among NHL netminders who have played the Wild at least 10 times, Oettinger's .922 save percentage ranks 5th. So every time he sees Minnesota, he is phenomenal, especially on the road. I think he's probably had his best performances against Minnesota. Of course, this one happens at the AAC tonight. Jason Robertson has 18 points in 15 career games against the Wild. He averages over a point per game. Wyatt Johnston, I feel like, also has a knack for coming up big against Minnesota. So those are 2 or 3 players to keep an eye on tonight for Minnesota. Now, the lines and combinations on the back end. Steals up with Hintz and Rantanen, Ritskovian next to Duchesne and Sagan, Robo with Johnston, Bork, Blackwell, Faksa, Bastian. So a couple of changes there. And I know some are concerned about Robertson being on that third line and Johnston to some degree. But of course, that is not how they're being deployed. We've seen already in the first handful of games that Steele, after a few shifts, has been moved down to play with Bork and Johnston at points, and then Robo back up. We saw that against Colorado when the Stars capitalized off that icing by Brent Burns. Goldson trotted out Hintz with Rantanen and Robo. So Goldson's not afraid to put the big boys together. The lines may say one thing, but the distribution is going to be different. We saw Hintz play a ton, Johnston a bit more, and I think Robo was actually the second most used forward against Colorado, although he's listed on the third line. That's not how they are being deployed. Lindell Heiskanen, Harley Lundqvist, of course, the pairings, and then Bichel with Petrovic tonight. So a couple of differences there. Ritskovian, Duchesne, and Sagan, which I really love. Ritskovian is showing some grittiness, and he gives that line some more foot speed, especially on the forecheck. Ritskovian can be that guy that can get into some of the dirty areas along the boards. I think why Goldson is maybe putting him with Duchesne and Sagan is to get him some more minutes, just because of the special teams and the amount of penalties the Stars took in the first two games. They probably haven't given Ritskovian enough minutes or more minutes, or they're not giving him as much as they would have liked. I think they want to get him involved more. And putting him with Duchesne and Sagan, I think gives him the opportunity to do that a bit more, as long as the game is played at 5-on-5 here tonight. So I would think Ritskovian's going to play a career high, even maybe, or at least a season high in minutes. I don't think he even cracked 8 minutes, maybe even 9 in his first couple of games. Let me fact check myself before I make the statement. But he played 753. We got to look at the game logs. He's averaging 7.5. So I would imagine he probably hasn't hit 9. Yeah, 847 against Winnipeg, 623 against Colorado. So I imagine they want to get him up into double digits, and playing alongside Duchesne and Sagan should help with that here this evening. And I've just really enjoyed his game, along with Bastian too, who we've highlighted over the past couple episodes here on Locked On Stars. So those are what the lines look like ahead of Minnesota tonight. Ritskovian with Duchesne, Sagan, Steele still in that top line. Robo, Johnston, and Bork remain together. We haven't seen them stay together very often, however. So it is very flexible, very flexible. If you go back to some of the line deployments from the other night against Colorado, Hintz, Rantanen, and Robo ended up playing about 7 minutes together. Then your next most was Duchesne, Sagan, and Johnston. That's a trio they've used quite a bit as well, and they've had some looks. They struggle a bit defensively, which I guess isn't a huge surprise based off some of the metrics of Sagan and even Johnston. Still not a complete player in his defensive zone, but again, he's 21 years old, 22. He's going to continue to grow and get better, although he's looked really good, has a couple goals here in the early going. So that is the line combinations and pairings to be prepared for. Oettinger has been a beast against Minnesota in his career. Stars are actually, this is crazy, 54, 28, 12 all-time versus Minnesota, 33, 8, and 7 at home. The Stars have earned points in their last 14 games against the Wild, 9-0-5, dating back to December 20th, 2021. So Stars have a lot of good trends against their rivals to the north. Hopefully they can do that by slowing down the big guns of Minnesota. We know the obvious choices, but who are some others the Stars have to be ready for and contain here tonight? I'll tell you in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays. You can try player props, even follow the live lines during games. It just makes watching football so much more exciting. And you've got a little something riding on the action when you're watching the Sunday slate. Whether you're a casual fan or just love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. And it's not just football, by the way. You've heard me talk about this all the time. You can get involved on baseball. We have the World Series right around the corner. Some great championship series are underway. We have NHL hockey now pretty much every single night, unless the NHL just puts them all on one day. But there's so many different options, so much fun. FanDuel is a way to go. Get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Minnesota is playing the second leg of a back-to-back here tonight. So we'll see what kind of legs the Wild have towards the end of the game. I would imagine they come out pretty sharp. Sometimes you see that from teams on the second end of a back-to-back. They have their legs early, but as the game starts to go along, they start to feel it, and their legs become a bit heavier. And they went the distance last night. They won in a shootout against LA 4-3, Marco Rossi with the win. This is the first away game for Minnesota as well. So they did have to travel, and hopefully Dallas can take care of that and get off to a good start. A good start in Winnipeg. They were slower in Colorado. They were just slower in general against Colorado in that game. And they need fast starts at home. That's something that's plagued them over the last couple of years under DeBoer, and hopefully Goaltending can rectify that a bit. But we know what type of talent and threats Minnesota provides. You have your Boldies and your Kaprizov, who both have 7 points here in the first 3 games. Their power play has been lethal here to begin the season. 47%, that's first. Their penalty kills 22nd. They've always struggled on the PK for whatever reason. They've just been awful for the most part. But their power play is just firing on all cylinders. They already have 8 power play goals in the first 3 games. So stay out of the box. That's a key. And the Stars are 8 for 9 on the PK so far this year. They need to drop that down a bit and not tax their penalty kill too much tonight, especially with a Minnesota team that could be tired as the game maybe draws to a close. Besides Kaprizov, Boldy are great players. I did want to throw out Zev Boom a bit. He's a 20-year-old defenseman. He was drafted in the first round a couple years ago. He played his college hockey at Denver. He's from California. I've watched him a couple years now in the NCHC. I got to watch him in person just a few times since he played weirdly enough, we're in St. Cloud State. They're in the same division, same conference, I should say. Watched him a lot. He was spectacular when he was 18, and he has shown that here early. He's playing over 20 minutes a night so far. He joined the team towards the end of last season. He got a handful of playoff games, so he's a real special talent. He picked up his first goal of his career the other night against St. Louis. So that's a guy, he moves the puck extremely well, still has some work to do defensively. But when it comes to off the rush, he's not afraid to join the play. He is really skilled. He's kind of like a Quinn Hughes in that nature, where he's just so impressive with the puck on his stick. And he can make you pay. I always throw out Ryan Hartman too. Was a former star at one point for a cup of coffee. But he's a strong, hard-nosed, sort of bottom 6 presence, but playing in the top 6 here for Minnesota. So always keep a lookout for him. Philip Gustafsson will get the start here, by the way. Jesper Wallstad was in net yesterday in the victory. Gustafsson is 2-1-1 this season, has an .895 save percentage, 3.03 goals against average, and all of those goals came in one game. when he suffered a loss, but he's already pitched a shutout this season. Of course, he got off to such a hot start last year. He was going to be firmly in the Vezina race until he got hurt, and then sort of quieted off. He finished 6th in the Vezina voting, but he of course can steal a game, and he's going to be relied upon, you would think, tonight in a game where Minnesota is going to be asking quite a bit out of their number one netminder in the second end of a back-to-back. So Gustafsson, of course, someone the Stars need to test tonight and just have sustained pressure. And think about what Goaltending talked about the other day after practice, not just relying on counterpunching. Can they take the Wild into the deep end, so to speak? Can you make this team suffer tonight? Try to bully them and wear them down in the offensive zone, make them defend for long stretches of time, control the game, dictate the play, and wear out Minnesota. With the way the Stars want to play this year and what we've seen here in the first couple of games, try to wear down teams, be physical, play with that edge. I would think there's going to be the emotion, the tension of a Central Division rival for the third straight night. Stars did not look great against Colorado for much of the game. I would suspect they're going to be much better here tonight, on their toes early, and try to suffocate this Minnesota team and make them work hard, make them earn it tonight. Every look they get to earn against Oettinger, and continue to improve on the defensive side of the puck. That's where Dallas has struggled a bit. Offensively, we know what they are. We know what they can be. It's in front of Oettinger. Can they clean up some of the mistakes and take away some of those grade A chances for Minnesota? They have some defensemen that are vulnerable. If you're looking at a spot on Minnesota where Dallas can maybe take advantage of, it's the pairing of Middleton and Bogosian. That's that third pair. They're pretty slow, not very fleet-footed. They're just strong, big bodies. Bogosian's 35, Middleton 29. That's a pairing Dallas can take advantage of. And I would throw Boom on that as well. He's a -4 this year. I've, of course, highlighted his talent offensively, but defensively, he hasn't been the most reliable. They do have him paired with Spurgeon, their captain, who's always been really good and underrated. Unfortunately, he just can't stay healthy enough. But I think Dallas can take advantage of the bottom two pairs for Minnesota. Like Kaprizov, they're going to get their looks, right? Erickson, he's good too. Like those top guys are going to get some looks. But can you limit them, keep them to the outside, make them earn it? And I think Dallas will be in fine shape tonight. But that's what the Minnesota Wild lineup looks like. So their top line, Rossi with Boldy, Kaprizov. You have Erickson with Tarasenko. They picked up Tarasenko in the offseason. Already has 3 assists this year. He's playing alongside Johansson and Ek. Hartman, Foligno, Trenin. Is sort of, I think, that checking line, right? We've had a lot of history with Foligno, and then you have Yurov, Ogren, Hinostroza. They're dealing with some injuries, right? Zuccarello's hurt. Sturm is hurt too. That's another guy that they're missing. So they are missing some of their depth, and they're asking some younger players to step up. Whereas Dallas, outside of Jamie Benn, rather healthy, and I think we'll have a good game tonight. I think Dallas is going to be locked in early. Sorry, there was a fly that was flying through. I was going to try to, I think I got it. Boom. Look at that. I'm like Mr. Miyagi here on the podcast today. Wipe the hands clean. That's one thing about living in South Texas, by the way. This is just a tangent. It don't matter how clean. Don't matter how clean you can keep your place. There's going to be bugs. There are going to be flies, cockroaches, you name it. That's just the nature of the game down here. But I love it. I do. I could deal with little critters every once in a while, but not where they're flying around. Try to do a podcast here. Okay, let's make some predictions. Why not? Let's have some fun. Drop some predictions in the comments below. Let me know yours. I'll tell you mine in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments, and we don't have the full picture. You can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. It does all that heavy lifting. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Maximize your investments. Increase your savings rate. That is what Monarch can do for you. It keeps a clear view of your financial health. That's what you're looking for, week to week and long-term financial health. Monarch Money is there for you. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL, monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. We'll wrap up today's podcast with some predictions tonight. 8:30 puck drop, a late one on ESPN. National televised hockey, which is always a good time. Of course, you can listen to Josh and Razor on the ticket. Stars are 2-0, Wild are 2-1. I mentioned this yesterday. I think this is going to be a pretty close game. Gustafsson, I'm going to predict, holds Minnesota in it longer maybe than they should be. And I like the Stars 4-2 tonight against Minnesota in their home opener. 4-2 victory. They get an empty netter late. Minnesota keeps it close. They get a power play goal, I say. Boldy has a good game. Gustafsson really holds them in, but the Stars prevail 4-2 tonight on their home rink. That is my prediction. Okay, who scores the goals? Why not? Rantanen gets one. Hintz gets his first of the season. I like Duchesne for another. And then the empty netter, why not? We'll give it to Rantanen. He gets a pair of goals tonight, including the empty netter to seal it off. Oettinger, let's be real specific here. Jake Oettinger makes 28 saves on 30 shots. So 28 of 30. He has a big game as well to go toe-to-toe with Gustafsson. Stars take it 4-2. That's my prediction. Go ahead, give me some specific predictions in the comments below. Would love to hear those and read through those as we get prepared for puck drop. Sorry for a later episode today, but figured, it's a late start, so this gives y'all something to chew on and get prepared for. But I'm excited for another Central Division foe, really. As I stated a couple times, like the last couple of games, or the first two games, I should say, they've just felt like an extension of the playoffs. And we talked about a lot. The Stars needed to be prepared coming into the year, and they've looked apart so far because of the tough stretch here. I mean, this is 3 playoff teams right off the hop. You don't play a non-playoff team till Thursday against Vancouver, and Vancouver made it interesting. We know they can be a handful too. So this is a really excellent start for Dallas to be 2-0 against 2 division opponents. You're not going to see Colorado until March, I think, is what it is. So like that's a big win early to kind of kick off the year. We know the importance of just stacking points early too. As you get closer to Thanksgiving, the more points you can stack before injuries start to happen, before slumps and all that kind of transpire. The more you can get done early, the more it gives you margins later in the year for when you do have some struggles. And like the Stars had some bad stretches last year, but because of the really good start, they didn't ever suffer that much. They may have, I don't know if they ever dropped out of a playoff spot. They may have at one point, but I think maybe at worst it was like second wild card, but they had games in hand. But if you didn't do that earlier, then you're really sort of fighting uphill. It's all about trying not to fight uphill post Thanksgiving. So Stars Wild tonight, looking forward to it. 4-2 victory. Book it for the Stars on home ice to kick off their home opener. the Stars haven't been as dominant as a home team over the last couple years. It feels like they just have had slow starts plague them. Last year they were 28-10-3, which is good. Not awful by any stretch. In 23-24, they were 26-11-4. But remember, they were the best team on the road that year. They were just incredible, which is never a bad thing. I guess you want to be good on the road, but it's nice to be a really strong team at home too, in front of the home fans. Be bad on the road, right? I guess just be good in both spots. And the Stars have. Okay, sometimes you can be a bit nitpicky on some things, but Stars Wild 8:30 tonight. Looking forward to it. Stars are incredible against Minnesota. The all-time numbers that I mentioned off, I really had no idea they were that good against Minnesota. But usually good things happen. Death, taxes, Stars taking down the Wild. Hopefully that's the case tonight. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the game. We'll be back tomorrow's episode to break it all down. Should be a fun one. Stars 4-2 over the Wild. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, by the way, Stars fans, before we go, sorry, I want to mention NHL Game Night. It's a lot of fun. Locked On NHL Game Night. They break down every game every night for you. You get local analysis on a national scale. Every once in a while, I hop on there, talk about the Stars. You can find it on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Want to give them a shout out as well. So go check them out. Now, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.